Hey everybody, my name is John from Community Life Church, and this is Meals Ready to Eat from the Bible. We would really appreciate a like and subscribe. Hello, today's message is Jesus sends who with the message? That's a question. Jesus sends those he calls, and that means all of us. It means you and I included. Those he calls are those he sends. So the question then becomes, if you want to expand on it a little bit, who does Jesus send with his message? Just what kind of person is it? Some say, is it the gifted speaker? Is it the educated theologian? Or just the poor person without means? Some folks would say it's one or the other, but Jesus gives us a little bit different answer. Well, it's a lot different answer. I'm understating that. But even more importantly, a lot of us ignore this question, and we don't get to understand what Jesus is doing because of that. So it's an important question, and the answer is something that we have to deal with. And the answer is going to be a little bit surprising. Now, to begin with, in the opening of the book of Romans, Paul tells us that we're all the called of Jesus Christ. That's in Romans 1, 6, and 7. And that we all of us have received grace and apostleship. That's in Romans chapter 1, verse 5. So what does this look like, and what does it mean? Jesus shows us several times in the scripture exactly what this means. So we're going to take a look at Mark chapter 5, verses 14 through 20, and we're going to see just how Jesus deals with this. But before I get to that, let's just set the stage of what's going on. Just before this passage, to give the scene some context, Jesus took his disciples and apostles through a storm on a lake. He calmed the sea, and his disciples and him got out of the boat to see a raging, demon-possessed monster of a man coming after them. Jesus healed them, sent the demons into a bunch of pigs, which then ran off a cliff. And we pick up the story again in Mark chapter 5, verses 14. Let's just get this up on the screen for everyone. Excuse me. And we can see what's going on here. Okay, chapter 5, verses 14 through 20 of Mark. We'll just read that. Their herdsmen ran away and reported in the city and in the country, and the people came to see what had happened. They came to Jesus and observed a man who had been demon-possessed sitting down, clothed and in his right mind, the very man who had the legion, and they became frightened. Those who had seen it described to them how it had happened to the demon-possessed man and all about the swine, and they began to implore him to leave their region. As he was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed was imploring him that he might accompany them. But he, Jesus, did not let him. But he said to him, "Go home to your people and report to them what great things the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." And he went away and began to proclaim in Decapolis what great things Jesus had done for him, and everyone was amazed. So, what do we have here? Well, to begin with, we like to think of these townsfolk as maybe ignorant or foolish and selfish and only wanting things to be as they were. Go away and leave us alone, as they say. Well, they're not Jews. They had pigs, after all. And they did not know who Jesus was and what his message was, and they had maybe even never heard of him, and they certainly had no context as to what he was doing. So once again, we see, by the way, that Jesus is going to a people, going to someone who the people at the time, the Jews at the time, would have said, no, don't go to them. And, we react kind of the same way when we're asked to go talk to someone that we don't like. So Jesus went to people that we don't think he should go to. Once again, Jesus does a lot of things wrong in our opinion. So they didn't want Jesus in the city, so they said, go away. And Jesus dealt with that. How? In verses 19 and 20, this is Jesus' answer. We see how. Jesus sent a man cleaned up and clothed and in his right mind to his own people. The best way for these people to hear the word was to hear it from one of their own. This is the best way for Jesus to handle this. And that's exactly what he did. Jesus is God, after all, so he does know. Now, he did the same thing in John chapter 4 with the woman at the well. She went into the city after Jesus revealed himself to her. She went into the city with the message. Then the leaders came out to Jesus, and then he went in. But she went in first. And we can read about that in John chapter 4, 28 through 30 and 39 to 40. That's a very important passage. The same kind of thing is going on. A person that the people at the time thought he shouldn't have been dealing with is the one he called and the one he sent. So what's the point? It is that the ones he calls, he also sends. If he's willing to go out of his way for these two people, and he is willing to go out of his way for you and for me. Okay? He is willing to send us with the message of the gospel to all people. The demon-possessed man and the woman at the well were neither gifted nor articulate. They were not said to be of the educated class, and were even of the lowest possible class in their society. They were probably the bottom rung of their group of people. So, but he also sends the gifted, he also sends the wealthy, he also sends the educated. Why? Because those whom Jesus calls, he also sends. Jesus is perfectly happy to send these two people. He's perfectly happy to send you and me. So, we have to go. Thanks for watching. You can join us Sunday morning, 10:30 at 20 West Main Street, Catskill, New York. Can't make it? You can stream our services live on YouTube or Facebook, which you can find on our web at clchurch.cc. That's clchurch.cc. Don't forget to follow us throughout the week for devotions and times of sharing from leaders and staff. Leave a comment, leave a like, whatever you want. And thanks once again.